Okay guys, so this video we're gonna take a PSAT review, the 2017 one to be exact. So this is around the time of year where people that took the PSAT receive their booklets back and their test booklet. They probably look through the students and see what they did wrong, did right, what you need to know, what you don't need to know. But this test was kind of hard in my opinion, but quite doable. Not anything impossible. So this video just takes a review of the math section, and particularly the level 3 difficulty hard ones. But difficulty is in the eyes of the beholder, because some questions you may think are easy, maybe hard for that, like hard in the difficulty scale, or questions that are, and vice versa, is what I'm trying to say. So, but the College Board does a decent job generalizing with their difficulties, so I'll go over some of the questions that they have. Let's begin. This works. Okay, so this is a circle question. So it's asking what's true about the equation x plus 0.5 squared plus y minus 0.5 squared equals 0.5. And what's true about the line equation x plus y equals 0. So, and then let's read over the answer choices and see what they mean. So it's first, line never intersects the circle. So it's like a circle here, and there's a line going like that, and don't touch at all. This is A. B is another circle, of course, and when it says line is tangent to the circle, it's talking like, okay, I did that kind of bad. Talking like, oh my gosh, I'm getting closer and closer, but not every time like this. So it means that the line touches the circle at one point, and that means the line is tangent to the circle. So C, the line cuts the circle into two arcs of unequal lengths. Imagine a line going like that. Okay, just a line like that. And the arcs are not equal lengths, so that just means that the circle is not bisected in half. It is cut, but unequal. And then D is another circle. Okay, that's a pretty bad circle. That's slightly better, I guess. And the line cuts it into two arcs of equal lengths, so the circle is cut in half. So what you want to do first is figure out the x plus y equation. Like, what is that line? So if you just do some really easy algebra manipulation, you get y equals negative x. So that just means on the coordinate plane, it's like a line going down like that, negative 1, 1, and so forth. The hard part to this, though, is figuring out the the equation of the circle. But luckily for you, this circle is written in the standard form. So, in standard form means that if you have coordinate plane like that, right? If it says x plus negative 5, to get your center of the circle, your x coordinate of the center of the circle, you want to move in the opposite direction it's telling you. So if it says positive 0.5, you want to move in the opposite direction of positive 0.5, which is to go negative 0.5. So y means like here. And then y, you do the same thing. So if it says to move in the negative 0.5, you want to go to the positive 0.5. So you know your center will be at the point negative 0.5, positive 0.5. And then how you draw the radius, how big the circle is, well, the radius is always r squared in like this, like a squared plus b squared equals r squared. But if you add and subtract, you get whatever. So 0.5 is your r squared. So to find r, you take the square root of it. So you get root 0.5 equals r. And you draw the circle around that, get the line, and you kind of get like a bisected thing. But, oh, okay, that's a pretty bad line, actually. More like that. And like, it's kind of hard to show you if I just do it on here, but I went to Desmos, and I made a nice little graph, right? And, okay, can you just be gone? Okay, but you check my equations here, it's all correct. and you get the circle like this with the center at negative 0.5, positive 0.5, the line x plus y equals 0, cuts the circle into half. So this question, the answer would be D. And I really don't have a use for decimals anymore in this video, so I'll just watch out it out like that. So let's do a next question, the sum of quadratics. So what is the sum of the solutions to the equation 2x squared minus 5x minus 3? Oh, okay. So 2x squared minus 5x minus 3. Let me go check that really fast. Yes. Okay. So it wants the sum of solutions, right? So you have to solve this quadratic and then add them together. So you get two answers, add them together. Because it's a quadratic and you get two answers. So the first thing you want to do is factor this out. And since the the coefficient on the x squared term is more than 1, I have to, it's not as easy to factor, but there's a way, and I'm doing it right now. So what you want to do is take the 2, multiply by the negative 3, and you get negative 6. And you figure out the factors negative 6, so like 2 times 3, 1 times 6, and so forth. And you want to figure out the combination to where if you add these two numbers together in any order, you get negative 5, right? So I would, in this instance, I would use negative 6 and positive 1. So I would do something like minus 6x, x minus 3. And now I can factor out numbers on the left side. So I can take out 2x. So I have x left minus 3. And you might be tempted to just put the x minus 3 down here, but not factor anything out. But you have to factor something out. So but good thing for me, I take out 1, and it still is x minus 3, because if you take anything multiplied by 1, you still get the same thing. So now I combine the 2x and positive 1 together, so I get 2x plus 1 and x minus 3. And now, since you know this is equal to 0, right? So you know that x minus 3 equals 0, x equals 3, and 2x plus 1 equals 0. Subtract 1, divide by 2, so negative 1/2. Add these two together, since what's the sum? So you get 2.5 or 5/2 as your answer. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's go back. Let's go to the third problem. So it's a quadratic system of sorts, but it looks intimidating at first, but it's a lot easier once you actually get to solving it. So you have y minus x squared plus 2 equals 9x, right? And then you get y equals 4x plus 4. So this is your given, so you get this. And it says if x is larger than 0, then what is x? Right? That's what it says. Okay. So this is another F or Q, or not really, but like bubbling grant answer, so there's no A, B, C, D for this. But what you want to do is solve for x. But they give you y equals 4x plus 4. So what you can do is replace the y in this equation with the 4x plus 4, and then solve for x that way. So like this, 4x plus 4 instead of y, minus x squared plus 2 equals 9x. And what I want to do now is I want to add the x squared over, so I have a positive x squared, and subtract everything else over. So minus 4x minus 4 minus 2. So that means if I simplify it, I get x squared. 9x minus 4x is 5x, and 0 minus 6 is negative 6. And now I want to factor this, so I can get something like x plus 6, x minus 1, because these factor out to be that, x squared plus 5 minus 6, 5x minus 6. So it means you get x equals negative 6 and positive 1. But since it only wants answers as x is greater than 0, the only answer you get is x equals 1. So, okay, oops. Okay, so final question in this video. So it's about rubber balls. Cool stuff. Okay, so it says a rubber ball bounces upwards 1/2 the height that falls up each time it hits the ground. If the ball was originally dropped from 20 feet above the ground, what's the maximum height above the ground between the third and fourth time it hits the ground? So College Board labeled this as a difficulty 3 question, but I really don't believe them on that. It's a easier question than a lot of people might think. So just imagine that you start here at 20 feet, right? And before the first bounce. So let's say you had your bounce 1, but the ball halves in height every time. So now you have 10 feet. And you do it again. Bounce 2. You get 5 feet. Oh, I'll rewrite it as here. Then you do it again. 3. 2.5 feet. You do it again. 1.25 feet. The fourth time. And the question is asking, what is the maximum height between the third and the fourth bounce? So if I look between the third and the fourth bounce, it goes from 2.5 to 1.25. And I think this is why College Board made this difficulty 3. People might jump to conclusions like, oh, there's 1.25 feet, or they do some weird stuff to find like the median, the mean, but it's a really simple question. What is the maximum height? It starts out at 2.5 and decreases. So your answer is only 2.5 feet because it's the maximum height between the third and the fourth bounce. So that's your answer, and that's it. That's really it for level 3 questions. So this is kind of a basic overview of some of the harder math problems in the PSAT. This video is not all encompassing. There were other factors that I didn't do, like simplifying in algebra or other sorts of questions. But maybe you learned something from this video, and I hope you did. And if you want me to cover anything else, put it in your comments below. Or if you want to tell me your score and how well you did, go ahead and put it in the comments too. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good one.